back right now. Everything should be working pretty well. I see my microphone is. I just wanted to come back just for maybe 10, 15 more minutes. I always say that and I wind up being on here forever. That's me. But anyway, what I want to do is just share a little bit more information. Maybe talk about dreams. Maybe talk about some other things. Everybody has interest in dream interpretation and in numbers as well. And so I want to make sure you get this information. Now, also, at the same time, you may have some questions about my courses and things that I teach. I don't want to be on too long because I have to get together with some other individuals in about another hour or so. I think we're all going out to hear some music. I hope that's the case. Anyway, I want to thank you for joining me. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe now. It's important so that you get information when I come on. I'm trying to come back more often now, but it's a little harder because I'm teaching 3 or 4 different classes right now. So, literally online, some private, some group. There you go. So, um, Rose, do you have a question about dreams in general, or specifically a specific dream symbol? Or if you like, I'll look at your numbers for you as well. Because we're here to learn. I know, like when we get on Lloyd's show, Lloyd only has time for about an hour, and if he takes it a little past the hour, that's a good thing. But for me as the guest, I'm always doing something. I'm always busy at times. So, um, but let me talk a little bit anyway about numbers. When I was writing my numerology book, The Key to Life is Numerology. That book took like forever to write. Even though my buddy Lloyd Strayhorn was telling me, when are you going to write the book? When are you going to write the book? You should put that book out now. Well, I didn't have a staff back then, and I don't have a staff now. So it just takes a while for me to put it together because not so much a perfectionist attitude. I just want to make sure I'm saying the right thing in the way that I say things. That's equally important. I understand, that good English is important, good diction is important, and articulation. But sometimes the way you say a word or write a word, especially when you write, the feeling in the word should come pretty close to how you kind of think and how you kind of speak sometimes. Because it also helps people. Okay, so we're going to get to that in a second. One of the things, information is important, and the internet, thankful for all the brothers and sisters that worked out the math and everything to let us see internet live, right? See people communicate around the world. This is a good thing. So, it's important to get that information out. And it took a little while for me to get the book out. I even had errors in the book that I didn't realize because I was so tired working on the book that I was uploading it and then saw the error and then had to upload a fresh copy. So this happens with everything. In fact, my next book, I don't even think it's going to be ready until 2025. If I can get it out in 2024, it will be all about meditation and how to use it to connect with your higher self. So that's the next manuscript that I'm working on. Well, dreams. We dream a lot. Now, I've met some people on the TikTok social media app. They say they don't dream. I don't know because I have a lot of people that do happen to remember their dreams. These people that were on TikTok, they said that they were part of a dream lab group, and they found out that they didn't have any dreams going on, or they didn't see things in color. Well, as far as I know, if you don't see anything in color, you'll remember that. You'll remember seeing the dream in black and white. There's a certain term for that. But here's the deal. Sometimes because you could be under a great deal of stress emotionally and mentally, and then feeling it in your body, you may not remember a dream. You might find it very difficult to be able to piece the images of your dream together. Also, there's something called REM, REM, which stands for rapid eye movement. So when out there at Stanford universities in the 1960s, the 40s, and 50s, they were doing experiments on people in the dream lab, so to speak, and they would hook up the electrodes around the eyes and underneath. They could see on the screen a twitching sensation, and that meant that the person was dreaming. They would have somebody in the room with that person, someone looking at the scope and someone looking at the person. They can say, well, they must be having a dream. Why? Because their eyes are flickering underneath their eyelids. Their eyelids are flashing rapidly, almost like it was Morse code. So this was proof that people were experiencing something. And then when they came out of the dream, out of the sleep, they would be asked some questions. Did you experience anything? And people would say, yes, I had what I think is a dream. They would say the images that they saw, the words, the sound, the colors, people that they were interacting with. So this was proof that people do dream. Well, guess what? All living creatures dream. Scientists are now have gone in and watched an octopus dream. Have an octopus in a tank, have the filming, and noticing that the octopus eyes are closed and it's asleep. But then it gets startled in its sleep and it releases the poisonous ink into the water. Now that doesn't bother the octopus because they're not allergic to their stuff, so it don't bother them. They can continue and go on. Well, it can be because once you go to sleep, you got body posture. There's certain ways we're supposed to be able to sleep. I found out just recently, and I didn't know this, that if you sleep on your right side, there's something about the fluids in the body flow more toward the liver, so you're sleeping on the liver. And they say that sometimes people have a backup, like the acid reflux energy pops back up into the esophagus, and then they start having terrible gas pain right on top of where the esophagus goes in to the stomach, as well as above, like coming up into their throat as if they're choking. I didn't know that because I've never experienced that. I've tried to sleep face down, stomach down, chest down, straight down, but that doesn't work too often because I find out that things don't always feel comfortable to me. I've slept on my back. That feels better for me, sleeping on my back. I'm more comfortable on my back. I slept on my left side. They say you should sleep on your left side. I think it's different person to person. I could sleep on my right, I could sleep on my left. I can definitely be comfortable sleeping on my back. But you know what? A lot of people move around in their sleep. There's a lot of life partners that say, "Yeah, my honey kicks me out the bed, kicks me in the back, knees me in the back, kicks me in the leg," because they're having a dream. They're very active, or they're moaning in their sleep or talking in their sleep. These things do happen. So everything's a little different from person to person. Now, I'm the kind of person, if I go to bed way too early for me is like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Yes, I'm a senior at age 71, but I found out when I go to bed at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m., what happens? I wake up at 1 a.m. I'm up at 12. I go to bed early like that, I'm up 3 hours. I wake up in the middle of the night. So that doesn't work for me. I think when I go back to my college days, when you're in college, you're partying, you're having a good time. But what I find is that I'm able to sleep under shorter conditions. So if I get 7 hours in, sometimes I get six and I felt like I've slept a long time. So Rose, you're saying I like sleeping on my left side better and stomach. Yeah, they're they're saying that. I've been reading about this online now, where people who have been studying dreams long term say that when you sleep to your left side, because that's where your stomach is, it seems to be a better alignment through the organs. And therefore, you're not having any gastric juices going up the esophagus. And you're not squeezing down on the liver, which is on the right hand side. For people who, as we know, people who do liver cleanses, they don't have you sleep on your left. You're told to sleep on your right side where the liver is, so you can squeeze whatever is in the ducts can be squeezed all the way through and passed out. All right, because the liver is picking up any toxins, liver stones that gets picked up. People had kidney stones that could be there too, stuck in the ducts. So they say sleep on the left side if you're cleansing your liver overnight, 2 3 nights, 2 to 3 nights during a full moon. Then you're releasing all that stuff out your system. But if you sleep on your left hand side, the side of your stomach, then you don't have those problems. Now, dreams. There's I always say, and I've been looking at dreams since about 1979, and this is what I've gathered. When you're dreaming, there's two kinds of dreams. Like you have what I call a very interactive dream, and then you have a dream when it's just like a movie to you. But what do I mean that is just like a movie? Well, you can actually see yourself in the dream from head to toe. No matter which way you're turning in the dream, movement in the dream, you can see your full body from head to toe. So that dream is going to be more symbolic to you than anything else because you can see yourself. Now, if you don't see yourself in the dream and it looks like you're looking through your own eyes consciously like you do in your waking state, then you're in your what I call your dream body. Your dream body is where you start to feel everything, just like you feel when you're wide awake. You feel your eyes twitch, your muscles twitch in the dream. Why? Because you don't see your face. You can look down and see your body, the rest of your body, your hands. You can look to both sides. So often people are having the experience of living, breathing, dreaming in the dream body. The only time they get to see the reflection of the face is in the dream. They come upon something that gives them their reflection, like a mirror, a pane of glass that has enough things going on where you can see your reflection. These are some of the differences, the major differences. Now, sometimes people, scientists, dream scientists, as I'll call them, they say that often you are having dreams occurring every 90 seconds. Now, some of the people I met on TikTok, they were saying, to them it's 3 minutes. Well, the only way it can be 3 minutes, that has to be measured on a screen, a graph screen, and someone has to be present to time that because you don't know when you're going to dream, and neither do the people in the room with you. But when you do, they have to record when you start having your eyes flickering. So usually it's about 90 minutes of time makes up a dream scene. 90 seconds. Now, depending on how many of them you have, will determine how many dreams that you're having. The dreams are not always connected from frame to frame. There's usually some difference going on. They're not connected frame to frame as we think. But here's the very interesting factor. We, as the dreamer, to us, when we're having the dream, it appears to be much longer in the mind than in the body. So to us, we might have a dream that's only 90 seconds in Earth time, but in there, to us, it's not just, it's gone beyond 90 seconds. It feels like 90 minutes. It feels like you're actually in a theater experiencing the dream for that length of time. So here's some other things that help you understand and decode dreams. If you notice, if you can remember that during your dream time, in the dream, it was the wee hours of the morning, like dawn, just before sunrise. What's happening is that is something that is very subtle, that is an issue or a problem or an opportunity that may be coming to you, but you are unable to decipher it, not just in the dream, but in your waking state. So if you happen to have during the dream time, in the dream, a morning scene, it's not necessarily meaning that it's bad. It just means that more light is being shed on your situation so you can see what it is because you can see it. But what if it's morning time and it's cloudy outside? That would suggest the mind is feels clouded or you're disturbed about something that you're looking at or that you are experiencing in real life. Okay. What if the person has an evening to nighttime dream? That's more not only sophisticated, but that's letting you know that there is some problem at hand that you need to look at because now you're having the experience nighttime and that is disturbing to you, right? You wake up out of the dream, like, this is a nighttime dream, so it must be a problem. And you have to kind of go back several days, several weeks, several months ago prior to that dream time to see if you had any problems with people. Could have been health issues with somebody around you or your own. You don't really know because there's certain things that will point that can point to health situations. You can actually see the health situation physically in the dream and experience pain and all of that in the dream. Or someone in the dream is telling you, like a doctor or a holistic doctor, oh, I noticed you have a problem with your foot. Or maybe in the dream you find yourself limping. That gives you some issue that, hey, you might be having a health condition and being able to maintain your balance. Okay. Maybe in the dream you experience a migraine headache or you get it in your neck. There's certain phrases like, who's being a pain in the neck to me? Because you got pain in the neck, soreness in the neck. So different things pop up in different ways. We just have to begin to jot the information down and begin to write it down. Keep a dream journal. Write as much as you can about your dream. Some people say, "Well, I don't know how to do that. I don't know what to write about." Well, when you're about to write a dream, first thing you should do is write down the day of the week, month, day, and year, the day of the week that you get up from, which means you had the dream somewhere between the time when you went to sleep and your time you woke up. So you went to sleep somewhere before sunrise, right? And morning time when the sun does rise, come up over the horizon. You could write down the astrological sun sign, the astrological moon sign of that day. That's also important. Now, in being that you could be involved in numerology, then you write down, okay, I'm in such a number that represents my personal year, my personal month, my personal day. That gives you information there. Maybe you go to an astrologer and they do a horary, HORARY kind of forecast. So you tell them, hey, I've had some very interesting dreams. They could be scary dreams, they could be prophetic dreams, but where were the planets aligned during this time when I went to sleep and when I woke up? Because then there I had the dream. And then the person can tell you the astrological significance of that time frame when you're experiencing that dream. So there's a lot of things. Maybe you're into tarot cards. You throw a tarot spread to see if you got any additional information. Excuse me. So these things are important. You saying to yourself, okay, I can throw a tarot card on it, or a couple of tarot cards to get a yes or no answer about the dream. Or maybe you have a pendulum to work with, and you'll swing the pendulum back and forth, and you'll get some information that way. Hey there, Tokia Mac, how you doing? So, you can get these different scenarios about dreams happening, and you want to really know what's going on, right? You want to know, like, why am I having those dreams? When I started studying dreams, and this is after college, after I graduated from college, I was getting into dreams and using the numerology because I was fresh into it in 1974. I started to log in on a calendar if I had a good dream, a bad dream, a nightmare. I was keeping my journal, but I had a calendar and I would write the day. I would put a certain code color in. When it was a nightmare, it was maybe a muddy brown color or a gray color. If it was more spiritual, it'd be a lighter pastel shade. If it was emotional, it would be like pink. Okay, so I would say I would just put a pink line or color the date pink. That way I knew I had different dreams going on. If it was mental, I put a light blue. That's how I know, okay, there's something going on. Now I could track the dream. I could count the number of days. Oh, Tasha. Okay, thank you. So I would have been able to count the number of days between a dream that was very emotional for me, or a dream that was very mental for me, or a dream that was considered scary. Okay, so I could keep track. And on the average, dreams that were very disturbing to me would be every 43 to, like in numerology, 43 to 52. There was something going on where that dream was repeating itself. And consistently, all the details would be there. Or perhaps I realized later I was able to remember the details strongly. So I could describe what I saw that was going on in the dream. This is very significant. This is very important. So that's another way. Then you have colors in the dream. Do you remember the colors of inside of the colors outside of a building, the colors inside of a building? What kind of clothes? Were there old clothes or new clothes people were wearing? What were the colors? Colors speak to emotions. Something about an era of time speaks to, our thought processes about the past. you know Something in our past is disturbing, or something coming toward us is disturbing, or we get excited about it. There are buildings. If the dream had a lot of old buildings, then there's an old way of thinking. If there were modern buildings, new way of thinking. If a building looked like it was quite sophisticated, then hey, the immediate future with your mind is going to be quite sophisticated. You're going to get into some detailed things in your thinking processes, and you're going to be able to figure things out faster. So, there are many things. Maybe you see art, hear music. All these things point to how to interpret the dream. But see, what is significant is your dream language either will increase or it will be repetitive. But the symbols. That's what I mean by dream language. Dream language, your symbols will repeat. So that tells you you have a certain process that you're going through and a certain number of symbols that keep popping up in your dream that help you determine a better meaning for what the dream could be for you. Sometimes couples or very close friends can share the same dream. They don't even have to be in the house with each other. They can be in their own prospective residences and share the same dream and literally describe it to each other and don't miss any details. That's very important. That links two minds together, and two minds together can see the truth for what it needs to be seen as, okay? Because someone has support. Animals that show up in dreams. Well, animals usually can denote who we are. Get a bear in the dream, loping about. The bear is, loves the hug, can be very protective. See a horse, swift thinking, swift movement. The mane and the tail carry a lot of energy on a horse, so that tells you you carry a lot of energy. Okay, you might see a unicorn with the alcorn coming up between the two eyes, and that's very psychic, very intuitive. That means that. Okay, but each animal carry its own meaning, and sometimes you have to go online and look them up. Butterflies are usually miracles and transformation. However, you need to meditate upon the symbols that come up in your dream and kind of let your mind roam a little bit to see if there's something different that you get as opposed to what someone else has. Because that will be very important for you too. I mean, some dream interpretations do help you until you gather your own particular language and processes of analyzing and looking at dreams. So you got a lot of different things to go with. You know, if you see, let's say, a shovel in the dream, shovel that you can dig with, well, that might be a catchphrase. Don't dig yourself into a hole. Or it means you might have to do something to create an opening for yourself, an opening in the depths of your own mind. Older people or ideas. So older people or older, more matured ideas. Babies in a dream, very new, very innocent ideas. Everybody else in between, that can mean that you need to watch how you carry yourself. Maybe don't become too sarcastic when you're listening to people getting information, or you have to express your own. So there's different people can play different parts. Clothing, that helps you. Colors help you distinctly, okay, because colors speak of emotions. Colors come and are connected to your chakras, so that's very important. So you want to pay attention, and all the information you get one time may fit another time, but most of the moments when you're dreaming, it's for that information right then and there, unless you're getting similarities, some of the dream symbols showing up in other dreams. Then you can say, okay, well, I got to make a connection between those dreams that I keep getting, because I'm being told that there's something I need to strictly pay attention to. Now, sometimes people have what we call the precognitive. That's the more technical term in psychology. For all of this time, people studying paranormal activities and psychic abilities and things of that nature. So they like to use the term precognitive. Cognitive means to know, pre means beforehand. Now, they would say it that way because they didn't want the mainstream, general public, professional people have a problem when they hear the word prophecy. Because if it's a prophetic dream, you're kind of waiting for it to come out, and it may not come out in the way that you see it, so it may not necessarily can be termed as a prophetic dream. Because if you could use the dreams for prophecy, and you can, then everything will be on point, nothing will change. There might be some words or phrases or things that come up, and those things can be looked at symbolically, but the overall temperature of the dream can be very prophetic. What you see in the dream is the same way as a meditation. You're going to experience that thing exactly as you experienced it in the dream. So the dream is now more of a prophetic dream, as people would call it. Well, sometimes when you have dreams, you experience what is called out of body experiences. Out of body experiences. See, it's said in a safer way rather than say astral projection, or I like to say, beloveds Akhenaten and Nefertiti say, soul traveling. Well, astral traveling is more or less being caught up within the astral belt of the universe, which is pretty close to the Earth, but yet far away. So astral means is things get stuck in there. What gets stuck in the astral plane? People that were connected to you that passed away, people who you didn't get along with who have passed away. So they could be your elders or not. They could be co-workers or not, but you didn't get along with those people. So their dream takes on a different scenario. And because it's an out of body experience that you're having, sometimes it's hard to relate that information to other people so that they know that you understand them. Most times when we're having out of body experiences and very high volume dreams, many times we're not sharing that stuff with people. We don't want to be looked at as being loonies. We don't want to be looked at as being conspiracy thinking people, and so on and so forth. Because sometimes people around you might say, "Oh, you're not having no dream. I've had those dreams plenty of times." Why they're trying to water your parade? They don't want you to be connected to your dreams, and they don't definitely want you to be prophetic through the dreams because there's a lot of jealousy that pops up. So now, when people ask me, what do you mean by soul traveling? I thought that was astral traveling. Well, yeah, in the beginning, when we used to use the word astral, we were thinking about the stars, the constellation. But as time has gone on, we're thinking of the lower rung, which is the psychic energy, and lower rungs of that falling into our concrete emotions and getting inside the physical body and going into the earth, subterfuge, going down. So we're thinking now, okay, that can't be a good dream, or my out of body experience took me lower instead of higher. Well, how do we get ourselves higher? Well, first of all, we got to get it into our consciousness. We have to think about ourselves, think better about ourselves, think and convince ourselves repeatedly that we are a better version today than we were yesterday. So we have to plant the proper seeds in our minds. Once we plant those seeds in our minds and those seeds begin to grow and blossom, we'll have a better outlook. Okay. We'll see things clearer. Okay. We'll feel even better about ourselves. Now, when we start getting into having the out of body experiences or soul travel, in most cases, whether it's out of body or soul traveling, you will remember the places that you've seen. You'll remember people that you interact with. All of that is going to be valuable to you. Now, whether you're astral traveling or soul traveling, how do you know either one is happening? Usually, you'll get up the next day with a dry mouth. You'll feel this uncomfortable urge, you got to drink some water. Why? Because you're using a lot of energy, and a lot of that energy in our body is converted from water in our system. Beyond having a body with a lot of water, a lot of liquids in it, we have a lot of electrical energy in our body as well. That electrical energy is known as prana, ki, chi, which is chi or Chinese qi, organ type of energy, crystal energy. All this stuff we have with embedded within us. So most of the time, we're having a real live happening out of body experience, and you know it because you feel some of the aches and pains are coming back into your body. Now you have to prepare a place around you where you can have some solitude, where you can monitor things, where you're not going to be disturbed, especially if you're attempting and looking forward to do astral travel by yourself. You can't have people running in and out of your area where you sleep or meditate. It's not going to work. Why? Because you're going to have a lot of anxiety with you and it becomes more difficult. But if you can set it up where nobody bothers you, they know you're up there meditating, or better yet, you're going to sleep at night, great time to have an out of body experience. Now, it may not happen right away because you have to figure out what the sensations are. but you can use affirmations to assist you in setting up the preparation in your mind and in your body to have that experience. You can decree it into place. You can say, each and every night I have clear dreams. I am a clear dreamer, a positive dreamer. Each and every night that I go to sleep, I sleep well, and yet I remember my dreams upon awakening. Each and every time I go to sleep, I am a good dreamer, an excellent dreamer, and an excellent soul traveler. I can distinctively remember the places I have gone to, the places I've seen, the beings that I meet. So you can have this experiences and you can teach yourself to do it. Yeah, sometimes things will pop, meaning we're not thinking about having the out of body experience, it's happening. And now that we're astrologers have said that we are firmly out of the age of Pisces and we're in the age of Aquarius, this is the key phrase of I know, just like saying I remember, I know. So sometimes your higher self, called your soul, might take you on a journey. You may not realize that you're having the journey until you wake up. You might ask in meditation and prayer to your higher self, hey, can you show me that place you took me to and why? And after sincere asking, now who are we asking? We're asking the divine source within ourselves. When we ask for the divine source within ourselves, then we stand a good chance of experiencing what we need to experience and remember it all in detail. So when you come out of the out of body experience, you got to give yourself a little time to feel settled back in your body. Got to give yourself maybe 5 minutes, maybe eight, maybe 10 minutes. Once you feel that you're firmly back, you should have some water at room temperature or some herbal tea if you want at room temperature. Almost bland, not too sweet, not salty, just enough to let you know you're back. You might rub your skin, move your fingers around, let you know that you're back in your physical form. Okay. Now, when you're having these out of body experiences or you go further into soul traveling, you can actually induce it. Now, you can induce it by repeatedly saying before you go to sleep, ask for your ancestors to encircle your bedroom and your bed. Ask for your angelic guides, whoever you have with you, to encircle to make sure that you're leaving in a safe way and entering back in a safe way. You might ask for one of your other guides to be an overseer for you, meaning when you are leaving your body, those beings of light that connect in that sense with you are traveling with you wherever you are going in your sleep. Now, everyone says it happens from within, which is true. All that we see outside is happening on the inside. We're just so accustomed to accepting it the way it is that we don't question it. Okay, but when we're having out of body experiences, you got to jot that stuff down, just like a dream where you're having astral. Astral means amongst the stars, but in reality, what's going on in the astral belt, you're meeting up with people who have passed on. A lot of these people you don't know. You might meet up with a victim of a murder or something like that, or rape. You don't know who those beings are, but you're meeting them in that zone. You are not trying to meet them in that zone. Everything is opening up around you, and you're having the experience. Sometimes we look around ourselves and people, like for instance, where I live here in the complex, one of my neighbors lives in building 2 and I'm in building 3. And we were talking Monday. He said, hey, bro, did you see the sheriff's cars out here? No, I didn't even know they out because I went out the front way. I, I just, something said to me, just come through the back on his side to see if he's sitting outside. And there he was. But it was interesting because he's into ghost busting, investigating haunted places here in Albuquerque, and he knows of a lot of places because he belongs to a group. He and a couple of friends do, and now they want to meet me. Hey, there'll be maybe a hobby for me to go into these places and see them. But here's the deal: sometimes, because we are having these experiences, we see things, and memory sticks with us. Why? Because it impacted us in a certain way. So yeah, you might be out having this dream, and all of a sudden you feel another kind of connection. Then you know, okay, this is not a dream. This is an out of body experience. Now, if you had, now you could program yourself. You can well, how do you do that? There's a lot of different ways to have an out of body experience or soul traveling. Here's some exercises. One, lay down and try not to go to sleep and breathe deeply in through the nose and out of the nose. Or if you can, sit up in a chair, but don't let yourself lean forward or cock your head back or to the right or to the left. Try to keep your body in a comfortable position, close in the angle of the hip to leg, torso to the leg, what feels like 90 degrees with your body. You don't have to be exact, but close as you can. You want to have both feet flat on the rug. So you could have socks on, be insulated that way, or just be barefooted, or you can be in shoes or sneakers. It doesn't care. Just have your feet about 12 inches apart or about the width of your hips. So you want to be comfortable, right? The width of your hips can go from the outer edge of the feet on both sides or from instep to instep. In any event, you want to feel comfortable, okay? This way, you're not budging, you're not moving. Now, sometimes when you're having an out of body experience, here's something else. You may have to drape something over your body. I know when I go deep in meditation, I take a lot of people deep into meditation. They say when they come out, they feel cold. So I suggest they bring a blanket with them. They can kind of drape over the shoulders of the front part of the body. Why? Because when you go into the astral mode of traveling or the soul mode of traveling, the body gets cool. It warms up first, but then it gets cool. And you could be in a room where you feel ice cold, just terribly cold when you start to come back. That means you really did project out of yourself within your auric field, seeing many things. Or you did project beyond, where you expanded so much you felt like your physical body went with you, but it was your etheric body that you took with you into this environment that you needed to see and experience. So often things like this come about. Yeah, you don't necessarily plan it, but when you are planning it, it takes a little while to get the synchronicity in place. I remember one time, 1994, so that would make me about 42 years of age. I was practicing how to come out of the body, and I was laying on a futon on the floor. All I could say was the futon was a little too soft, but nonetheless, I was trying it. And I had a phone, a rotary phone, next to me, about a little shorter than arm's length. Well, anyway, I was having my out of body experience, and what I was doing was consciously, through that state of mind, projecting myself to be outside of the residence and looking around. Now, because I go in and out of this house all the time that I was staying in at the time on Long Island, I pretty much knew how the landlords downstairs looked, upstairs looked. I knew how the front yard looked, the driveway, the back of the house, and the garage. So I had all of that. I knew how the basement looked. I knew how the neighbors would. So I was able to project and see these things. But on another note, at another time, I would hear the people but couldn't see the people. I could go to where the people were, but they weren't there. So sometimes your memory kicks in a little bit. You remember bits and pieces of conversations that people have had indirectly with you and directly with you. Sometimes those things come to the surface as well. So you have to start to pay attention to, how you're picking up on dreams. But here I was at age 42 having this dream. What I was doing, I was projecting myself to be outside. In other words, to open the bedroom door, because I was on the second floor, go down the steps, which when I open the door, the stairs are right there. Go down the stairs and out through the living room, out the front door. Now, when I did this, I was the only one in the house. So I projected myself and I could be outside looking around. I could actually cause my etheric body to turn so I could see the front door. But here's what happened: I went through the door. I didn't open the door of the bedroom. I didn't open the front door to go outside. I passed through the doors and doorways. But I became startled because I could hear my phone ring. And the first time the phone rang, it felt like a shock in my body. It felt like it was extremely loud. You know, you'd be outside in an outdoor event and bands playing loud. That's how the phone was ringing. Why? Because I was more sensitive to energy. So the phone should sound louder to me. I saw myself zip up into the bedroom. I could see the phone ringing. And as I gazed at the phone, I could see it was a friend of mine calling from Las Vegas, Nevada to see how I was doing. And all I could do was project, don't hang up, don't hang up. I kept telling her not to hang up. So she let this phone ring up to about 10, 15, 20 times. In the meantime, I was figuring out, because it's my first time projecting out of my body, I was trying to figure out, how do you get back in? I'm facing my body and I can see myself sound asleep. How do I get back in? Well, fortunate for me, I was on my back, sleeping on my back. So I was able to stand what I felt I was supposed to do, stand at the foot where my feet were and kind of sit back into the energy. But I really didn't have to do that. Why? Because I was startled by the phone ringing, and her name was April, so it kept coming and kept coming and kept the phone was just feeling louder to me. So eventually I jumped back in my body. But I had a hard time picking up the phone. Why? Because I could feel, here I was sliding back into my physical form, that it would take a little while for me to connect the physical with the emotional body, the water element body, the bone structure of my body. It would take a little bit of time to do that. But eventually, she kept letting my phone ring, which was a plus for her and me. Because once I was able to get a grip on the phone and then move the phone, it felt like a 10-ton weight. I couldn't move it, but I had to relax and blend my hand with the phone and thinking consciously, I am this phone and I will pick it up and I will listen to whomever I want to listen to. So I was able to do that. I was able to listen to my friend talk. And she noticed something. And what she noticed, I was panting. When I finally could pick the phone up, I was just like that. And she said, Brother Francis, are you okay? I said, Oh, I'm fine. I was just practicing some exercises. I didn't tell her exactly what it was. I just said I was practicing some exercises. But those are signs that you can perform this. There are other signs like having your hands like this laying in your lap and gradually balling them up into a fist and then relaxing. And then doing that repetitively. The whole idea is muscle memory, feeling the fingers touch the upper part underneath your knuckles, feeling the thumb come over. But practicing that movement in your mind, eventually you let go and then you're doing it. Another thing I used to say, okay, get a chair in front of the space where you're getting out of the bed. Give yourself about 4 or 5 steps physically walking to where the chair is. Include the steps of turning around and then be seated. But now, as you're seated, gaze at the space you were at. If you do this maybe 13, 20 times and you get comfortable with it, after a while, you will see a haze, which is your auric impression on that chair. You will be able to decode, determine what's going on. You have to be like a reporter. You got to know the 5 questions like a reporter. What happened? Who is involved? Why? Where? Where did this thing take place at? And how? What makes it possible for that? These are the 5 things you generally ask yourself to give yourself an idea of where you might be at mentally. Now, if there's people who are struggling with mental illness and have to take medication, that level of dreaming may not be good for you. It's got too much energy in it, too many things that you have to decipher and water down in order to get the information, and then you can find yourself being flustered. So you have to be careful. Have to be really, really careful of who you ask to watch over you while you're having this experience. It should be someone who's also interested in the paranormal, parapsychology fields, metaphysics, things of that nature. At least you know the person is familiar with something that you are getting ready to do. This is important. So these are some of the things I just wanted to bring up. You know, the thing about walking over to the chair and sitting down and then see yourself and then use your memory and see yourself lift yourself out of the chair, walk back to where the point of origination was, flex the hands, open your eyes, and have a discussion if you can. So these are the things you want to be aware of. And things can change frequently. Lots of things can change, but in essence, you don't actually change. Like your fingerprint doesn't change. How you imprint on the world through your heart, that doesn't change. But what does change is the seeds out of unconditional love that you're giving is making things around you more productive. So it cause other people to be productive, elders to be productive, cousins, your relatives, aunts, uncles, nieces, and nephews, and it goes on. You are wanting to impact your environment with a lot of pluses. So that's what I have to say about that. It is about 53 minutes into the making. Like I said, sometimes I can go and be on a long time, but I'm not going to be on long tonight. I got to go spruce up because I'm heading out the door. Well, if there are no questions at this moment, you can email me your questions at iam.circleofgrace1 at gmail.com. Email me your questions about dreams. Or maybe you want a quick numerology reading. Email me at iam.circleofgrace1 at gmail.com. So I have a Gmail, iam.circlegrace1 at gmail.com, and I will answer your questions. Thank you for tuning in. And I'm going to get it right now. Tasha Mack. Thank you for reminding me how to pronounce it. Tasha Mack. All right. You ladies have a great time. I don't know when I'll be back. I just taught a class last night privately to a group of people, and that's going to go for quite some time, another 10 weeks, and then I'm going to start my decree program for 6 weeks. You know, Thursdays, July the 20th. So I'll be doing that. So until next time, when I get back on here, thank you for your time. My grace is your grace. And remember that divine grace is a blessing as we are alive and well in the age of remembrance. I hope to be back on soon again. Take care of yourselves. Have a good night, excellent Friday, and a superb weekend. Thanks for coming on.